Hello, it's Fred Dinenage again, talking television, lots of absolute nonsense, but thank you very much indeed for joining me. And a lot of people say to me, who are the people who've most amused you over the years on TV? Because I've been in TV for more than 60 years now, pretty well non-stop. And I have to say, the funniest characters I've worked with over the years have often tended to be weathermen, television weathermen. I mean, I remember first of all a guy called Trevor Baker for Southern television way back in the 60s. And he was known as Trevor the Weather, and he was a much-loved guy. The viewers absolutely loved him. This was a very primitive time in television weather forecasting compared to these days because there were no computer graphics and all the fancy stuff they've got now. Trevor Baker, what he had was a cube with four sides on it. And on that cube, all his figures and numbers, etc., and temperatures and forecasts were written with magnets with black rubber on the front. And the magnets were stuck on this board with black rubber on the front. So this particular night, the forecast for the next day was fog and rain. So Trevor Baker said, right, let's have a look at the forecast for the next 24 hours. Spun the cube round, and as he did so, the letter F dropped off. And he said on there, I'm so sorry about the F in fog. He was a great character. He was such a character, they even gave him his own show, the Trevor Baker All-Weather Show. And I remember one of the things he tried to do on that was to learn to dance, to tap dance. And to do that, they called it Lionel Blair, a brilliant dancer and great character, great television character, to teach him how to dance. And Lionel Blair spent several hours in the studio with him. I happened to be walking past the studio and Lionel Blair came out, I think, to have a cigarette. And I said, how's it going, Lionel? He said, I'll never teach that heifer how to dance. So he was a great character. Another great character was a guy called Carl Tyler, who was the weatherman for Television South for many years, but also for ITV Meridian in the south of England for a while as well. He was a great man for his dogs. He loved his dogs, and they were very talented dogs. He was into all sorts of dog agility tests and things like that, and still is to this day. And I remember he was very proud of the way he could train his dogs to run around courses and all the rest of it. And we did a program live from the New Forest show in the New Forest in Hampshire. And at the end of the show, he was doing his weather forecast, and then he was going to show us a bit of dog agility with his top dog, running around various posts on the course. And off he went. I gave him the big build-up. Off he went, did Carl with the dog, and the dog shot off into the forest and ran away. It was several hours before they could find him. He was an extraordinary bloke. There was a balloon festival in Southampton, and he was in this balloon with an operator, and it was fully charged up. It was bursting away, and he was doing his weather forecast from there. And one of the other guys on the program thought it'd be rather fun to release him. So they actually untied the rope, and away he flew. And he flew several miles all the way from Southampton to Midhurst before they managed to bring the balloon down. He was supposed to go to a dinner that night. He eventually got home at 10:30. He was not amused. There was also an occasion with him where there was a kind of mini hurricane at a place called Hayling Island on the coast in Hampshire. And it was decided at the very last minute that we would do a live program from this. There was one house which was almost falling over on the edge of a little cliff. The roof had gone, and we decided we would do the program from this particular house. Quite a risky thing to do, but we did a risk assessment, and they said it's going to be okay. So we went down there, very much a last-minute thing. So we had the very minimum of equipment, a couple of cameras and just one microphone. I was doing the program from inside this house, lots of shots of the hurricane the night before, really good program. And I'm thinking to myself, this program could win an award. And then I went downstairs to introduce Carl Tyler, the weatherman, who was on the bit of green in front of the house, and he was going to do his weather forecast from there. I went outside with a microphone in my hand. Remember, we only had one microphone. And I'm introducing him. And as I'm introducing him, he kind of panicked. And before I can properly introduce him, he wrenched the microphone out of my hand and started to do his weather forecast. Now, the arrangement was at the end of the weather forecast, he'd hand the microphone back to me. But he didn't. He hung on to it. So I had to wrench it back out of his hand so I could say goodnight to the viewers. I did that. We got the program off the air, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness me, this was going to be such a great program. could the viewers see what had happened? Could they see all that pushing and pulling of the microphone? So I went and saw the producer, and he said, it was a great show. It's a great show. And I said, could you see all that thing with Carl Tyler, with the microphone? He said, unfortunately, yes. I didn't often get angry, but I was really cross because I thought this has been such a great program. And I said to him, Carl, you ruined the show. This could have won an award. He said, no. He spoke in a sort of Wiltshire accent. No, Fred, no. I did it on purpose, he said. I said, what? He said, I did it on purpose because I wanted to. It'd been such a serious program. I wanted everyone to have a laugh. Absolute nonsense, of course. I said, Carl, we could have won an award with that program. He said, Fred, it still will. I said, no, it won't. A few months later, British Telecom announced that our show had won an award. And he turned to me and he said, what did I tell you? I told you. It'd be all right. Television weathermen are extraordinary. We had a lovely guy called Simon Parkin. That was ITV Meridian in the south and southeast. We used to call him Perky Parkin. Once I criticised him on the air, and he actually got up and walked straight out of the studio. Thankfully, he came back. He's gone on to better things now. He's with BBC Radio in Bristol. And finally, the one weatherman, I won't mention his name because he really did me on air live one night. He turned to me and he said to me, Fred, that's a lovely suit you're wearing. My old mother used to say, why people? Weathermen, I love them, most of them. More television stories